I just put us into record mode, and I like to leave the lines open. Everything sounds pretty quiet and clear right now. But if you know that you're going to have some background noise, you can just mute out your own line, and then that way we can just kind of speak candidly. And the intention behind this session is just to offer some more support for integrating the concepts that I've been bringing forth for this 21-day money power shift. I have set forth the intention to make these super simple, super actionable, super digestible, like almost like a no-brainer kind of integration. But I know that I'm bucking up against a lot of beliefs and shaking things loose. So I thought the best way to really support this experience is to offer a live training every week so that we can do some live laser coaching, live Q&A, just work some stuff out on the spot. And we're going to have a tendency, because we're human, to kind of run ahead, like, well, what's next and what's next and what's next? I understand that and I appreciate it. I too have that inner nudging of what's next going on at all times. But I really had intended for this focus to be something that is not focused on the doing and just going through the actions, but to really saturate ourselves and to allow these mindset shifts to fully integrate, or at least begin the process of integrating. And what happens, as I had shared before, as this new kind of stuff settles in, all the old stuff's gonna start coming up. And if I haven't yet, I know I have for everybody. If you've watched any of these videos, something has stirred and starting to surface, and I've been seeing some chat about it, and that's the kind of stuff that these sessions are perfect for. So if you have any questions, if there's anything that's on the top of your mind, if there's anything that's really profoundly affecting you, blowing your mind, that you're really taking away and already seeing some powerful results, I want to hear that too. So not just questions, any kind of feedback and any kind of personal integration. And basically, y'all just get me for the next hour. So bring it on, whoever wants to hop out first.
I guess for me, it's like bringing my husband fully on board, because I feel like for me, it's good, but I want it to be full circle because it's a family. You know what I mean? So like, I know he gets stressed out super easily. And like, for me to like share these concepts with him, it is helping. But I think at the same time, he's still stuck in a mindset of his own too.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much where I'm like, all right, how am I going to, I know for me, I could be at peace with it, but it would be even more powerful if he is as well. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt, do I know what you mean. I have a very lack mentality husband. He's not, our finances are totally separate, and we handle and approach money completely different. He's the saver. I'm the spender.
Yep.
I grew up just a completely different experience with money. One that brought forth a mentality within me that if you can't afford to do it now, you can use credit. You got to pay it back, but you can use credit. It's what it's there for. Where he grew up with no credit, all cash. You don't spend what you don't got. Yeah. And I do things a little different, and it makes it very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So he has his own issues with money. He has his own stuff with it. And I'm going to encourage you to put your blinders on as much as possible.
Okay.
To him and where he's at.
Okay.
It is our tendency, and I know this firsthand because almost every time that I teach somebody new, they're like, oh my gosh, my husband, my wife, my partner, my friend, they need to hear this.
Yeah.
And we do that because it would make our journey a lot easier.
Right, exactly.
But they're not here to make our journey easy. I'm here to make the journey easy. They're here to give you a chance to really believe and really get confident and really stand firm in what you know. And it seems like they're making the way tougher, but really they're giving us the best gifts that they can, because it's easy where it's easy. Well, we don't need to have it easy where it's easy. We need it easy where it's challenging.
Right.
And where it's challenging is our opportunity to let the easy in. And all of that, from my personal experience, comes from rooting into my own confidence, solidifying my own beliefs. And when I could see that when I took a step back and just said, why am I not taking the action that I know is needed, like to change things in my relationship? I realized that, and pardon me if I'm repeating some of the stuff that I've shared in videos. I don't always remember what gets captured where.
Yeah.
But when I realized that I wasn't taking action, I realized, okay, I must be lacking confidence. So what do I not have confidence around? What I don't have confidence around, I was thinking, was around what I'm doing. I don't have confidence in what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. But
Yeah.
really, actually, I'm very confident about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But when he walks into the room or he enters my thought field in relation to what I'm doing, I get crazy wonky and everything just goes
Yeah.
haywire.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that, well, I just need to change him. But what I'm realizing is that he really is my best training ground ever because he is not making it easy for me. And he is requiring for me to stand firm, firmer than I'll stand even for like us being together, because
Right.
this is about me. This is about my
Putting
life
yourself
experience.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the characters that are around us and that enter our physical space and, affect our energy field, they are also divine creation, playing out divine order, and they are doing exactly what we need to do. But this is what I think is super cool, and this is a belief that I carry very deep with me, Jacqueline. These partnerships didn't just come about, they
Right.
happen specifically. So if they're challenging us with our stuff, chances are, more often than not, when we can stand firm and face our challenge head on, we actually give them the opportunity to do the healing that they signed up for in our relationship. And as long as we keep defaulting and catering to their comfort zone, they're never, ever going to face this stuff head on. And no matter how much we want it for them, they're not going to do it. Just like they
Right.
can't make us do the things that we're doing. So it is very tempting to be like, I've got to get somebody else on board. But that is just a distraction to keep you from focus on your own path. And it's a very telltale sign of having a habit of managing other people's emotions or making decisions dependent on their reactions and that sort of thing.
Right.
So it's going to come front and center in this challenge because that's what has to go. That's part of what's stopping your abundant flow.
It's the guiltiness I feel sometimes. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
whatever that is that's coming
Yeah.
up, all of that. It is what is saying, okay, this is what's stopping you from having that.
Okay.
So as it comes up, you get the opportunity to love the one who's experiencing it first and foremost. So even if you don't do anything else, just love yourself through it all. And then secondly, in addition, then we can extend that love outward to them and say, I know you're scared. I know this makes you uncomfortable. It really kind of freaks me out too. But
Okay.
I know, like I've never known before, that I have got to try this out firsthand to get my own experience. And I love you for caring so much. I love you for wanting the best for our family. I love you for being scared. And I really appreciate that. I really believe in what I'm doing. And I don't have all the answers and I can't give you all the physical proof, but we do know one thing for sure. We know that how we've been living is giving us this experience.
Right.
What if looking at it differently gives us a different experience? And what's really, really cool about all of this, Jacqueline, and you can relate this back to your spouse, is that everything that I'm bringing you, this isn't concepts. This becomes direct truth because you get to try it on, you get to fill it out. And if it doesn't feel right for you, please do not do it.
Right.
But from what I have found, I've not found anything that feels more right than
Yeah.
continuing to lean in this direction. So it's scary, but that's the stuff that keeps us stuck. It's
Right.
not facing our fears or posting on Facebook or being visible. It's after I do that, if I don't meet everybody's expectations and I'm left here as the common denominator of what's wrong in the equation, I'm scared shitless to face that. But when we can anchor in and say, you know what, even if on the other side I don't get what I want, at least I'm going to have this experience and I'm not going to know what's over there.
Right.
And it's been facing the impossible that has been allowing miracles in my own life. Like stuff that I could never come back and report had I not faced it.
Right. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. And I'm going to talk about that more later on in the series. I'm doing everything intuitively with this, which is probably how I've created everything, but I have a lot more conscious awareness about how this is coming to me. And I'm getting distinct instructions to not get into the doing, which is more of what this is the doing stuff. So really I was told specifically, start with the mindset,
Oh
start
my
with slowing
God.
down, start with being still, because we are so conditioned to do. And all that busyness, it's stopping our abundance. It sounds counterintuitive, but it kind of also makes sense because we've been working our asses off.
Yeah.
We've been doing all the do's. We cannot be better people. We are good people, and we deserve to be compensated. And we're bringing good stuff out into this world with a good intention, and we're going to do great things with that money whenever it comes to us. So we have to get like really anchored into that. Our light just be
Release
removed.
all the bad stuff. And yeah,
Right.
I agree.
Right. It's crazy. All this stuff, it's all invisible, and that's what makes it so tricky.
Yeah.
Because we look at it, it's like, but no, I'm not really afraid of that. Then why am I not doing it? If we don't know how to dig underneath the surface, then we're just going to miss out, and we're limited with our options.
Right.
Looking beyond the surface just gives more options. And that's all that money does. We don't even want money for stacks of paper.
No.
We want money because it gives us more options. That's
like
it.
I want to travel eventually. That's what I need for it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just it really is just an energy. It shows a physical representation of an exchange that's happening.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And we're so disconnected. And again, I was really excited when it came to me and through me about how this is about changing your relationship with money, but more accurately, it's about changing the relationship that you have with you when it comes to dealing with money.
Exactly.
Because I feel pretty amazing about myself until the word money shows up. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe I do kind of suck.
Yeah.
What is that? It's crazy. And I feel like life has given me the opportunity right now in this current situation to feel peace without overflowing bank accounts, because at first I got overflowing bank accounts thinking that that's where I'm going to find my peace. No, I was just as freaked out. I was just as worried. I was just as scared it was all going to stop. I was just as scared that I wasn't going to keep it going. I was just as scared that my husband wasn't going to agree. Everything that I thought money was the answer to was still there. And I thought it was because it still wasn't enough money. And if it was, 15,000, 20,000, whatever, where I can have extra money everywhere that I looked, then I'm going to stop worrying. And I really believe that life said, you know what, Chrissy, you deserve better than that. So we're going to put pause, not stop. We're just going to temper the flow a little bit to where you're still going to survive. Don't worry about that. But now you get to love yourself regardless. And now you get to be powerful regardless. And now you get to be bold regardless. And really over this last month, actually these last 2 months have been the calmest that I have maintained throughout my entire month, because whenever it comes time for bills to be due, I kind of freak out a little bit. And it's because I had my blinders on. I was hiding from money because I didn't want to look, because I didn't want to see it's not enough, and I didn't want to show up and face it. And it was just really, I was out of whack with it all. And now like seeing like, wow, okay, today's the 14th, which means tomorrow's the 15th. So like half my bills are due tomorrow. And yeah, I'm feeling okay about it because I just know it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And it's so different. And I think it's because I've been reflecting over this. It's like, gosh, I've really got this going on. So where's my money, And then I realized, I was like, wow, what a beautiful gift. Because if that money kept flowing at the same amount that it was and kept increasing like it was, I mean, not only hitting my glass ceiling, right, of my own limiting beliefs, but I feel intuitively that if it continued, I wouldn't be able to feel so incredibly abundant without that being a physical reality for me. And again, I don't know. So I just say, what if? Because I can't prove any of it. And that way I feel better. And I believe that that's my intuition saying you're closer to the truth.
Yeah.
So whatever that feeling that comes up whenever you think about that future vision, next week we'll do this in the authentic alignment session. Whatever that feeling is that comes up when you get into that future vision, that's your body's way of indicating truth. So whatever that feeling is, whenever that comes forth, or whenever something kind of like it, it just shows you're going towards that. And whenever that stops, whenever it changes, whenever it starts to feel repressed and tight and closed off and limited and scary, that just means you're moving in further away from the truth. So what if you're way back to the truth?
Yeah.
Good? Helpful?
Yes, very helpful.
Okay, cool. And I'll make sure that I speak specifically about getting the spouse on board, just so we can make it super bite size and really integrate all the little pieces of it.
Okay, awesome.
Beautiful. And if anything else comes up, feel free to speak out. But Erica and who we got? Michelle and Karen, I think it is on the line. If y'all have anything, please just speak forward. And I have a couple of notes from questions that have been posted in the group too. And Jacqueline, I'm just going to mute you out.
Okay.
Hi, sweetie.
Hey, Marta.
I have a question. Sorry I was late. I've had a conference call with a client. So for me, every time things are going well, I'm super happy. And then with my line of work, it just goes up and down. I can have 1 week where I have hardly any work at all, and it just drives me crazy. But more than the crazy about being bored is just the even though all of our needs are met, I kind of have my personal goal of earning a certain amount every month. And so I start to really immediately crash and worry that, wow, I'm just way behind on my hours. It's not working. And I get really, really depressed. And I try to just think positive and think, you know what, it's okay. Not all of my work is just not consistent. Clients, sometimes they travel, they're away, whatever. There are all these good reasons of why it's not a good full week for me, but I immediately go down to the money. I feel very scared, but I'm actually okay. We're not, we're not struggling, even on those down weeks, those weeks where it kind of goes down and dips down. So that's the only thing, that when I have a really good week, I tend to be this optimist that, yay, life is great, and I start budgeting my money, and I'm super happy. But when I don't meet my own personal goal for the week, it's like I take it personally, and it's, so I don't know why I felt called to just say that. But
no, I think it's right on point. I have a feeling that you're not the only one who experiences this. I too experienced this as well, and it's something that I had to bring into my conscious awareness and realize this influx, like how you have like a really good week and then a really slow week and a really good week and a really slow week. Is this a new phenomenon, or has this been happening for a while?
I'll usually have a string of really good weeks, actually. And then out of the blue, there will be this one negative one that just all of a sudden it's like 5 hours. And I have this walking partner, this friend in the neighborhood, and we're walking, and I'll notice that for like 20 minutes of the walk, I'm the one talking and complaining about, I hardly have any work this week, I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And
so I really feel you. My schedule fluctuates as well, and I have weeks where I have like 10 appointments booked, and I have weeks where I have like 1. I've had a week where I've had none, and I freak the F out every single time until one day I magically realize, wait a second, this is happening every month. Every month I still pay all my bills.
Right.
Even if I got to slide something over from one place to the other, or move something down here and put something over there, it all happens. So whenever I saw that first, I was like, okay, well, first of all, it's always going to work out. Maybe life is showing me that I should take 1 week with clients, 1 week not. 1 week with clients, 1 week not. Maybe life is showing me I should have 3 weeks of clients on, 1 week of clients off. Maybe life is showing me that even if I don't have a lot of clients, I'm still going to be taken care of. And I started to just question it. I teach these, y'all know I like to be kind of cheeky in the things that I teach. So I teach these 3 ways to create heaven on earth. One is to quite literally love the hell out of everyone and everything. Whatever you're faced with, just love it till there's no hell left. Quite literally. That doesn't work. I say, love the hell out of everything. Question the hell out of everything, and appreciate the hell out of everything. And if you bring that love, that questioning, and that appreciation, it's going to transform everything. And then I say, if all else fails, then just confuse the hell out of them by saying, I don't know what the answer is or what to do, but I do know that I'm going to be loved and taken care of. Whatever it is, even if that person's confused, it's still going to knock the hell out of them, because they're going to be left there like, what is she talking about, right? So that would be the first thing that I say. Take that step back, step back and take a look at the fact that you've always been supported, always have been, always will be, even if they all come in the same week or they spread out over time. And I just learned that's the rhythm of where my people fall. And I used to also get freaked out. It happened today. It happened last Wednesday too. I have a client. She sometimes cancels last minute or says, hey, I'm too busy. Can I come next week instead? And sure, okay, because I've got the time. But like I was kind of counting on that $75 going into my account today. This is like an old massage client. So I realized it's like, gosh, I was counting on that. But if she moved it, I must have it coming from another direction. It's not that I'm not going to be provided for. It's
That's
just
good.
not going to go the way that my mind says it's going to. And we're very fortunate whenever life syncs up with what our mind tells us. And when we can learn how to relax and go with the feeling and the essence and the senses and not get so tight with what it actually looks like. Like when I realized, like now, whatever comes to my mind, I just go ahead and check that off the list of what's not going to happen. Because if my mind conceived it and gave me a preview, it's not going to go that way. I know that for sure because it's never gone how I thought it was going to go, no matter what we're talking about, right? I remember going to Vegas and thinking, wow, it's so glitzy and glamorous. And I get there and I'm like, this is kind of like walking into a gas station. It's not very glitzy and glamorous. It's nothing like what I thought it was going to be. That's the way that life is. And when we can stop, or I guess kind of undo the conditioning that's been put on us to make us think you make all the right moves, you're going to register that big win. That's not how this is. You don't have to. I just wrote down this note. Let me see what it's in response to. We have to get the earning mentality out of the equation. You don't have to earn any of this. All of this is yours by divine right.
Oh, that is so good. And I really needed to hear that about the earning because I associate my value sometimes with that number in the bank account. And that's just,
not at all. And I got huge chills going down my body. We are ingrained. You have to earn it. What did you do? Did you do anything for me? You hadn't cleaned up around here. You haven't done this stuff. You got to earn it. You can't just get it for free. Yeah, you can get it for free. And then whenever we see people doing it, we're questioning it. We're skeptical of it. And we think, that's not fair. They get handed everything. And I'm over here working my ass off. And I'm getting nothing. What if it's because they know no matter what they do, they're going to be taken care of? Where we're programmed, if we make the wrong move, we're going to be obliterated. Or whatever outlandish thing our mind comes up with. I don't even know what my mind thinks is going to happen. But something horrible is going to happen. But it's not going to happen. And this isn't about doing in order to get. This isn't about making the right moves. This isn't about lining everything up perfectly. This is about all that's already done. Now we just get to relax. Be ourselves as much as we can. Be as honest as we can with how we feel in each moment, with what we think in each moment. And don't hold on so tightly to what things look like, because there's one thing for certain. The only thing that's not changing in this equation is you. You're going to be here wherever you go. All the rest of this stuff, always changing. Every moment changing. That's why whenever I was thinking about how to promote this course, it was really important to me to add to the messaging. This is for those who have done courses that didn't work, because this is different. You're different. This is different. It's all a new creation. And when we look to the past, because we're scared we're going to recreate it, or we look to see how we survived it before, or we look to see how people reacted and we don't want to have that happen again, whatever it is, or we jump to the future and we're not envisioning it working out, we're only envisioning what we're going to do if it doesn't work out.
I'm kind of excited. I'm sort of excited because this is a big unknown for me. I've never done this well in my past. So I'm, those things keep surfacing from the past, but I'm a forward thinker. Like I'm always thinking about the future. It's terrible. But I'm noticing right now that my mind is going blank. It's like, well, what are you going to say now, Marta? You're doing way more with your income than you did just a year ago. And even then was just way more from 2 years ago. So I'm noticing how I'm doing. And this adjustment period, it's pretty good.
It's going to stir up waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's going to stir up, how long can I keep this going? It's going to stir up.
I don't think so. I think I'm going to keep growing, actually.
Beautiful.
I don't know if I'm a terrible optimist, but I'm like, this can actually keep on working.
Yeah, it's going to keep on working. It's going to keep on working. You were designed to do it. And the more that you settle into you, the easier it is to find the flow and the easier it is to allow all of it to work. But we have to condition ourselves out of, I'm the one that's making it happen, to wait a minute.
Right.
We could even say, and again, I can't prove any of this stuff, so I can't say it's the truth with a capital T, but I can say it does make me feel light and expanded and giddy. So it's got to be a little bit closer to at least truth as I know it to be.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I look at it from this perspective. Before I came into this life, my highest, wisest self laid it all out. That destiny, that vision that I have of my future is a preview of what's to come. And there's a part of me that's wildly excited to go through all of it because that's why we designed it all. So as uncomfortable as I feel right now, it's just an indicator of how destined I am to experience something different. Because if this is how it was going to be, I'd be content. But it's not. It's agitating, which tells me there must be something different. There must be something more. So that old mentality that we have to do and figure it out and make things work, it's just old. It's just an old paradigm. What we need to embrace and allow into our life, or just even allow into our what if realm, what if it's all lined up and it's all unfolding at the exact speed that it's supposed to, in the exact way that it's supposed to, for you to have the most rich, abundant, and full experiences possible. And if we can just trust that we set ourselves up for success and that we don't have to do it all, we just have to be still, connect, allow it to come through, keep taking those steps forward, keep living our truth out loud, keep staying in the present moment. If those are the things that we do, instead of, well, if I make this post, then I should get this much attraction. My list is 500 people, so I should convert 2% over. If we get out of all that stuff, we can tap into infinite possibilities. We can become crazy abundant attractors without having sales funnels and websites and packages. I mean, all that stuff just kind of helps us make sense of what all is happening. But yeah, it's your time to relax, and it's your time to allow yourself to receive and just really celebrate each of these steps and look at it, each step, as an opportunity to deepen your self-trust, because that's kind of where we get scary. It's like, well, who am I to be this great? I mean, some of the stuff that comes out of me, I'm like, who am I to be telling people, stop following everybody else and only plug into my trainings for the next month and it will change your life. It's pretty bold and it sounds kind of arrogant or conceited, but it's coming from a place that's beyond me, because I'm like, this really will stop a lot of the confusion if you just open up. And I also know that the right people are going to be drawn to it. And it takes everything to a whole nother level of excitement and detachment and wonder and curiosity, instead of this angsty, what the F's going to come flying at me next, and am I going to be able to handle it kind of place.
Oh, I'm loving it. Thank you, Chrissy. I did the first 4 days. I didn't do the fifth one. I just was copying and pasting it over just to kind of read up. I've had a lot of work and busy today, so I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Well, definitely allow this to be maybe your first opportunity of allowing yourself to just be where you're at with a course, because this isn't a one and done thing. It's not a make your way through it, pass, never have to look at this stuff again. I really set it up with the intention to make these daily habits that you want to just keep practicing and keep integrating and continue on. So if you make it to day 4, you get sidetracked, you show up again at day 7, you can jump in at day 7, you can go back to day 4, you can start over at day 1. None of it matters. Just allow this to be a new way of playing with yourself and your intuition, and a new opportunity to love yourself. Because what I found is that I would set an intention and get crazy distracted, and then I would shit all over myself for getting distracted. And I found it to be so much more powerful to trust that even a distraction is divine. And there's a reason for it. And the other thing that I felt really called to say on this call, and I know that I want to touch on, is that again, as you allow these new concepts to integrate, all the old stuff's going to come up. So you're going to feel panicky. You're going to feel uncertain. You're going to be doubting yourself, because all of that is showing you what is on its way out. We think that we feel this stuff because it's coming in to take over. It is liberating itself. And that's why you're feeling it. It's your intuition's way of saying, bam, done with this one, let it go. And I believe we're going to get to play over these same circumstances again and again until we go through them loving ourselves. until we go through them and they show up and we're like, oh, I see you, old friend. Good to see you again. What you want to do this time around while we sit around with our empty bank accounts? You know what I mean? And just take it as the game that it is, and that you are the character that was designed to win it, or else you wouldn't be here. And when I step into that place, oh my gosh, the stuff that comes out of me, it's crazy, but it always works out so well. I mean, be it if I'm talking to my husband or a stranger or whatever. I have no idea what people think of me. I hope it's beautiful things though, but I'm a little kooky. I'm not really what you expect. I'm not what everybody typically brings to the table. So, but it's more fun, and that's the beauty of it. Nobody else could bring this. So all my years of comparing this to everybody else is such a waste of time. I mean, not really, but
Right.
really, the whole comparison. We can't. There's no comparison. There's only you and what feels right and true to you.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm the last person who should be teaching money anything to anybody, but at the same time, I feel like I'm the best person to be teaching money stuff to people, because I know everything that y'all are feeling, because it's my day-to-day experience. And as I integrate this, my bank account changes, but it doesn't even matter. And that's really what we're after, is just that unconditional loving ourselves. And this whole money chasing thing, it's settling in and realizing it already is a part of you. It's why you want it. It's because that part of you is calling out to reconnect to you. And when we look at it that way, it's just, I don't know, it just changes the whole game.
That's divine.
It is.
It's perfect.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And we're going to get into what do you do with this stuff when it comes up. That's going to be more like the doing steps, how to clear this stuff. I mean, it's the same things that we do in the limited belief clearing sessions and the distant healing sessions and the authentic alignment sessions. I'm just going to break it down where you get bite-sized little nuggets, so they're really easy to integrate here and there as you go throughout your day, instead of it being like an hour-long process that you have to focus on. But it's that same idea. It's just what's leaving. It's what's on its way out. And it also is you empathing how other people feel. And since we feel called to work with people, this is what we need to know. So I used to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared to make this post. What if nobody responds? What if nobody does anything? What if the person kicks me out of the group? Whatever what ifs, worst case scenarios our mind can come up with. And then I was able to channel and realize, wow, how many other business owners are sitting here with this same self-doubt and contemplation? And if I can just be the one to make the move and survive, maybe I can encourage somebody else to do the same thing. And if I can make the move and figure out how to win big, maybe I can show them how to do that too. So then it becomes like, I'm not just clearing this for myself. I'm not just facing these fears for myself. I'm doing it for everybody. I'm doing it for all women. I'm doing it for all wives, for all moms, for all business owners. And when I take on that mentality, then I kind of feel like, what an honor that I was trusted with such intense emotions, because I am able to handle them and I know how to process them and how to do it in a way that is a good steward and not overly harmful to others. Although sometimes, I make choices that are harmful to others. And when we can't be in that space, to know that that's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be on all the time. You don't have to be high vibe all the time. You are high vibe all the time. You're a divine being. There's no more high vibe than that. So don't hold yourself and your vibrational reflection to what you're empathing from other people. It's just a sign of how connected you are and how deeply rooted you are into this calling that you came to live out, and how much healing you're going to be doing for everybody in the process. So whenever I feel stuck, when I feel broken down, I'm like, oh my goodness, y'all are about to have a big breakthrough, because I just had a big breakthrough. And whenever I have a big breakthrough, everybody gets to have a big breakthrough, and it gets exciting for me. Helpful?
Very.
Okay. Karen had said in the group, not Karen who's on the line, but the other Karen that had joined the group, she had said, why is this kind of, she had a client that was lined up, like she's put money into savings account, she's paid off a credit card, she's got everything going good, and then a client changed their mind at the last minute, and money that she thought was coming in wasn't. And although she still had money, she still felt like this tailspin and this panic and this, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And all of that is what is coming up to be healed, is what's coming up to be cleared. And again, I'll give you some clearing techniques so that we can just, just feel more confident in how to handle those whenever they arise, and realize that they're coming to us to get our attention, not to pick us up and run away with us. And when we do feel picked up and run away with whatever emotion we're feeling, it really is an opportunity to love ourselves through that experience, whatever it is. And I can equate this back over to motherhood. There's some times where I just feel agitated with my daughter because she is just not doing what I'm asking her to do. And I am not understanding what the problem is with her totally being capable, hearing what I'm saying, but still not freaking doing it. What is going on here? And then I'll just take a breath, and I just kind of link arms with my inner self. And I'm like, girlfriend, you're feeling frustrated right now, but I still love you. And as soon as I make that connection from within, usually I don't feel quite as frustrated. Usually I make much better decisions on how I decide to move forward. But even if I yell at her or do things that are out of alignment with the way that I really like to parent, I'm realizing that while I'm doing this, a mom who has this experience every single day of her life is having a moment of reprieve that I usually feel day in, day out in my life, while I am taking on this energy for her. So I will be a steward of that, and I will gift that mama that peace for the day. And I really believe that's what happens. Us light workers, we kind of pass around who gets to do the healing. And when we're not up for it, there's another light worker who's going to be there. And that's why it's so important when we go through these journeys to learn how to receive, because part of learning how to receive is strengthening our ability to reach out and to connect and to ask for support. And in doing that, we're saying, I know there's something for me to receive. I know there's something more for me. And asking for help is one of the most prosperous things that you can do. It is such a strong demonstration. But again, it's one of those things that got flipped over backwards for us, where we see or have been conditioned a lot of times that asking for help is a sign of weakness. It triggers our survival instincts because it puts forth an air of, I don't know. And what's one of the most dangerous places that we can be as a being that's trying to survive is, I don't know, because if you do know, you're more likely to survive. So learning how to be comfortable in the I don't know is super powerful, because settling into I don't know just says, I don't know, so I am open to receiving. And because I don't know, and I still have this desire, I know that there is something to receive. So bring it on. So use this group, use this community, which is why I chose to do it. Hey, sweetheart. This is why I chose to do it in the mastermind group instead of just doing it like in its own group, because I knew there'd be more energy. I knew there'd be more support, and that's what I think is needed here. And Erica says, I'm still here. Aw. Completely feel in being okay with what if. It's the only way I get through some days without a panic attack. Yes, 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 Erica. Lean on these what ifs. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with fantasizing about the possibility that life could be different than how it appears to be if it gives you more peace in that moment. I'm a huge advocate for it, because we can't prove any of this is right. We can't prove we're here to suffer. We can't prove that we're here to thrive. But we can prove that if we focus on the suffering, more suffering happens. And if we focus on the thriving, more thriving happens. And we can also prove that if we focus on the thriving and we're ignoring the feelings of not feel so good, we stay in this push-pull kind of stay back and forth. So in order to kind of transition out of that, we have to look at what we're feeling. We have to acknowledge it comes from a very real place. Because even though we can't like take a snapshot of our fears and be like, see, this is what I'm afraid of, because we can't. It's just not possible, because they don't exist. It's all here in our mind. They come from a very real place within us. And when we dismiss them as being nonsense, even whenever we're given, great information that can shift the way that we think, we're disvalidating a part of ourselves. We're still making a part of ourselves wrong. And all of us, just like our sweet babes, just want to be loved and accepted. All of us, and all of our wrongness and all of our rightness and all of our awesomeness and all of our lacking, we just want to be loved and accepted. And when we can do that for ourselves, I was just talking to a gal earlier, and she brought up the know, like, and trust factor, which we're taught in sales training. People got to know you, they got to like you, and they got to trust you before they buy from you. I know a lot of people who know, like, and trust me, and they ain't buying anything from me, ever. It's not about know, like, and trust them to you. It's how well do you know you? How well do you like you? And how much do you trust you? Because when you can get that know, like, and trust factor for yourself, first of all, it's not going to matter if they know, like, and trust you because you'll be so busy attracting the people that are really synced up with you. But it just changes it all. We seek to do these things outside of ourselves. We need to seek to do these things inside of ourselves, and then everything changes. Erica also says, I remind myself that I have had a lot less in the universe provided and I survived. Exactly. Exactly. I do a lot of volunteer work through a nonprofit with people that have been incarcerated or have drug or anger issues that stop them from being productive members of society. And that's what I remembered all the time. I'm like, you have lived through so much worse than sitting here in a classroom learning how to make your life better. So you might not have the house that you want, the spouse that you want, the job that you want, the car that you want, the bank account that you want. You might not have all these things that you want, but believe me, you have everything that you need. And you always have, you always will, or else guess what? You wouldn't be here. So when you can rest into that and you can look, okay, all this nudging, all this wanting, all this desiring is just a preview of what's to come. There's nothing for me to do. There's nothing that I got to earn. It's just a matter of relaxing, trusting, allowing. It's just a total game changer. And yeah, I look back, I look at all the times that I wanted to remove myself from this planet, even as close as just a couple of months ago, over and over and over again, intensely feeling these feelings of not wanting to be here and experience this anymore. I believe the more intense it gets, the closer you are to the end, because it's like, that final, it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of like birthing. You get super duper duper intense. And then when you finally get to the point that you're actually going to do, everything kind of stills and calms and you focus and bam, you have a baby, right? But it's the intensity beforehand that makes you want to tap out, get the epidural, remove yourself, your spouse, the baby, everything from the planet all at once, because it's so intense. But look at what you're doing. You're creating life. It's going to be intense. And we have to understand that that's what we're doing. We are birthing forth a new life. There's going to be labor pains. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be discomforts. You're going to learn a lot of stuff about yourself. And I think that that's why more people tap out of this entrepreneurial journey than stay in it, because you meet yourself. And if you're not being told that you're meeting yourself, you're left to think that you're the problem or that you're just not cut out for it, when really you just signed up for the biggest healing experience of your life. You just didn't know it. You thought you were just making some people feel better and making a little bit of money. So anything else on your ladies' hearts and minds? I know we're coming up on an hour. I want to keep it around an hour. Sue had asked about how to turn a negative what if into a positive what if. And I don't mean to be so obvious with this, but you just simply do that. So if your what if is a story, or if you come into a story that doesn't support where you're going. So let's see, this is probably which way Sue is thinking. So what if the money doesn't come? And what if I can't pay this bill? And what if I do have to face all these things? So whenever we're facing those what if worst case scenarios, you just switch it around. What if, this is, actually I just said this to Erica on a comment that I typed in the group. When I was a mom in the early stages, I remember one night my daughter woke up crying and I was like, why? I just need sleep. And it just clicked in my head, what if I don't need sleep? What if I needed sleep, I would be asleep right now? What if I need to learn how to love myself through this? What if I need to realize I'm so much more capable than what my mind tells me at any given moment? What if? You can change it to a positive what if. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a positive what if. So whatever it is that you need to flip that story around to make it a what if. What if I don't actually need that money today? This is what happens for me. I know that I've got money due, like tomorrow's the 15th. So I know that I've got bills due. But I live every day up until the 15th as if the 15th has already happened and I didn't get the money and what's going to happen then. It's really, really nonsensical, my habits that I became aware of with this. And now I've been able to flip that around. So what if I've got more time? What if I only have what I actually need today? And since today I have nothing due, then I have nothing coming to me. We can turn this around in our favor all the time. There's something else I was going to say about what's due. Oh, that's something else I'm going to be adding later in this series. Are you asking for what you need? Or are you asking for more than what you need? Because a lot of us are like, well, I want more, but if I could just have enough to pay my bills, then that's a good start. And then you're like, why am I never making, I make just enough to pay my bills. Just barely, but then there's never anything left over. Well, what are you asking for? Are you asking to just pay your bills? Or are you asking to pay your bills and also take a vacation to the Bahamas? You got to ask for what you want. Asking for more. So hopefully that helps you, Sue, on flipping around the what if. And if not, definitely let me know and I'll try to break that down a little bit more. You don't want to look. Sue also said that she doesn't want to look because it's not enough in her bank accounts. This one we're talking about stopping hiding. And other ways to make money. Your best friend, being a good friend to money. Okay. So this whole idea of personifying money and being a good friend to money and thinking about money as a friend, I kind of thought about it this way. I was working with a client one day and I was just like, think about the way that you treat money. You only give it attention whenever you want something or whenever you need something. You only have things to say about it, how it's not enough or not adding up or not happening fast enough. And if you had a person that was in your life that was doing this to you, chances are you wouldn't want to come around them either. But whenever you do have a friend who's like, you look gorgeous today, regardless if you're feeling gorgeous or not. So happy to see you today, no matter how you show up. That's a whole different experience. And again, this is about building a relationship with money, but more importantly and more accurately, it's about building a relationship with the part of you that shows up whenever money is in the equation. And to me, I've had a much better and enjoyable experience of myself whenever money's around by me looking at it as being a dear friend than being somebody who just doesn't measure up in my life. Doesn't show up on time, doesn't do what I want it to do, never, whatever those silly things that I would say about it. And still catch myself saying about it. And then learning how to be appreciative because it is there and looking to see what is there. Whenever I added up, my 8 accounts, I was like, wow, I actually have all the money that I need for that date. I'm just scared to pay it all out because then I have no money and I'm scared that it's not going to come back in. Hello, next limiting belief. Hi. I wish my daughter was up here. She would be all over it too. So other ways to make money your best friend, just really think about that. What are the qualities that you bring to a friendship? What do you value in receiving from a friendship? And how can you bring more of that to your experience and interactions with money? And then being a good friend for money, not making demands of money, just bringing love and acceptance, just like you would with any other relationship in your life. And then Joanne Schaub had said how she was asking about how to feel amazing about attracting through other people. So she said that when she went and saw her bank accounts, part of what came up from her was not that there wasn't a lot of money, because there was actually a fairly good amount of money, but it's the fact that her husband is the income earner. And she wants to be the income earner in the family. And she's had lots of entrepreneurial pursuits. She's definitely made some money, but as far as creating consistent full-time income, she's not had that experience. So how can she feel like that money is hers whenever it's not her that is getting the paycheck, so to speak? So if you're in that situation, a way that you can really get more connected to your own abundance is to understand that any bank account that you have access to and that you have permission to use is a portal for your personal use for abundance to come through. And it doesn't matter if you attract that abundance through your own doings in order to get, or if you have attracted a person in your life that is going out and doing the doings in order to get, so that you can be you, take care of whatever it is that you have to. Now, that money is being supplied and routed to that other person to provide for both of you. So you're just channeling it in a different way. It's coming in a different way. And most likely, kind of like today's day 5 training where we talked about bringing gratitude to debt and loans and to bills. You have to look at it that same way and bring the gratitude to it. Just because it's not coming in the fashion that you want it, in the form that you desire it, or the way that you intuitively know that your future is going to be, which is why you desire it, then it doesn't mean that you're not attracting now. It just means that you're not recognizing how you are attracting now. And you're given the opportunity to love yourself as you attract in this way and to work through your layers of belief about your ability to earn. Because life's going to get it to you, be it a credit card, a personal loan, a family loan, a bank loan, or a spouse that is the income earner. It's going to come to you in the way that you believe you're able to attract. And most likely, it's just been your overall life experience of somebody else being the income earner and you being provided for. And that actually is a pretty powerful place. I wish that I had that mentality sometimes, because I don't have that mentality. I have the mentality that if I don't do it, I'm not going to be able to get it. And even if my husband's sitting with an abundance in his bank account, it's not mine. I don't have access to it. It's not a part of me. I've had to learn how to claim that as my abundance as well, because it's part of what gives me my stability, is that I do know that my husband is going to come up with his half of the money every single month. So I don't have to worry about taking it all on myself. And I do know, probably somewhere in the recesses of my mind, that he would be there for me if it really came down to it, which he wasn't in the past, which is part of the reason that I have some of the issues in my relationship that I'm healing now. But you have to recognize it is getting to you however it can get to you. I mean, like, basically the only reason you don't have more is because you're so good at blocking it from coming into your life. That's it. It wants to saturate you. It wants to be everywhere that you look. It wants to make itself available and known everywhere. But it will only come through the pathways that you are open to receiving. And I think the best way to expand those pathways is to begin to appreciate the ones that you have, right? Bring gratitude to what you have now, because typically, this is the way that I've always taught it, or I've always taught it, and I'll reflect over it as I say it now. But wherever you feel like you're lacking, it's because you're not grateful for what you already have in that area. So wherever you want more to come in, but it's not, if you can look to connect to how you already have and grow the appreciation for what you have now, then you're going to be more likely to bring that into your reality, because life's too good. God loves us too much to give us everything that we want all at once. It's just like a loving parent isn't going to hand over the car keys no matter how bad you want to drive it at 6 years old. No matter how much you can convince your parent that you can handle it, we know as a loving parent, you don't quite have the emotional maturity to handle it yet. And life knows the same thing about where we are currently. So no matter how much we beg, we plead, we want, that loving parent, God, life, the universe, will not allow us to wreck ourselves. It will say, I know that you want to do it, sweetheart, and I believe that you are fully capable. But believe me when I say, if I give this to you now, it's going to do you more harm than good. And we just have to trust. If I was given what I wanted right now, or what if I was given what I wanted right now, it would actually do me more harm than good. I would actually be in a worse situation. Then it gets me more to the acceptance of now. And there was something that Marta said that kind of I bumped up against too. Oh, this Marta, how you were saying, like, you get these big flows, you're actually doing really well, and then you have that little lull and you're feeling really bad. Part of what will help you to make this more consistent is to really get excited about what you have now, because you are proving to yourself firsthand that you can add to it and add to it and add to it, and it's never going to be enough. It's never going to make you feel comfortable enough. It's never going to get you to relax enough. And as much as you think, well, no, really, put 50 more thousand in my account and I really will relax, I guarantee you will just find one other thing to worry about. And I did this firsthand last year. I had my bank accounts overflowing. Guess what? I still worried. There were still other things to worry about. This is not about money. It's about settling into you. This is about getting crazy connected to, aware of, and grateful for the abundance that surrounds you. I mean, like, really, just stop and look around. We got more stuff than we know what to do with. We're very abundant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Erica says sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. Thank God, because I would have married my high school boyfriend, and that would have been no bueno, no bueno at
That's
all.
that's exactly what I was thinking. If
Oh,
I had stayed in this relationship that I was in when I was 17, um, I know I wouldn't be here today. Like,
oh yeah,
he would have killed me. He was
yeah,
abusive.
yeah.
But even like, I want the big house, I want the nicer cars, I want all these things. God, why aren't you giving me these things? And I'm going back, maybe 5, 10 years. I realized that it really was all a plan. And I don't know, some of you may not know this, but I had to have life-saving surgery about 5 years ago. And right before the incident happened that caused me to have life-saving surgery, my husband and I were weeks away from moving to Seattle, where they did not have the world-class surgeon that I needed. So if my husband and I had moved to Seattle the weeks before this incident happened, I would have been totally screwed. And I had been praying to God to move to Seattle for like 2 years. And finally, something else happened, and we were just like, you know what? It just doesn't feel right. And then, bam, we put that off the table. And then this incident happened that caused me to not be able to walk. And everything since then, I am constantly reminding myself, I am here for a reason. Whether it's I only have $2 in my savings account, well, shit, there was a time that I would run negative $300 in my account all the time. So
Yeah.
I really believe in the whole you have to be careful what you wish for or what you don't wish for. So all of this is like crazy resonating with me, even
Yay.
with my horribly scratchy, phlegmy voice. Sorry.
Well, I love it, Erica, and I'm so glad that you're here. And I love how open you are to receiving this and to allowing yourself to receive this. And I know that I've said a couple of things just over these past 5 days. I mean, it's only been 5 days, y'all. We're doing
I
this
know,
for
5 days.
21 days. It's crazy. But I know that I've said things over the past 5 days that like you've just never heard before that has just really liberated your mindset and your ability to see, this world through a different perspective.
Absolutely.
And I hear fully what you're saying with be careful what you ask for, be careful what you don't, and rest assured you're never going to get something that you weren't lined up to get. You're never going to go through something that you weren't supposed to. So a lot of times we worry, especially if we've had a lot of law of attraction training, that if we think about these negative things or we focus on these negative things or we look at the fact that we don't feel good about our money, then we're just going to continue to create more non-feel good situations with our money, when in truth the very opposite is true. So we can rest assured that anything that we ask for or don't ask for, we're going to get or don't get according to divine order and divine plan. And the more that we can be detached for what we ask for and understand that we're just asking for what we think we need. One of my early mentors, he didn't start making a significant income until he was 70, and then he became a millionaire in multi-level marketing at 70. And he says that he starts his day every single day with the same prayer. Says, God, you know what I need, you know what I want, now send me what you think I should have. And he just moves forward, knowing that all of it's going to unfold exactly how it's supposed to. And the more that I rest into that, the more that I can settle into that, the more that I can believe it, the more that I can love myself through all of it, the more that I can look at like what is uncomfortable and just look at it, even if I don't take action on it, and love myself regardless through it. I'm convinced more than ever, which is why I had to change my practice. I was like, I can no longer tell people what to do, tell them what they need to do, or I can't even put forth that there's anything wrong with you, which is kind of makes copywriting a challenge. But there isn't anything wrong with you. You're healed, you're whole, you are complete. Now, what I can help you with is getting your mind caught up to that reality so that all of life reflects that in return. Because right now, life is reflecting your current reality. It's not reflecting what is actually happening. It's not reflecting actuality. It's reflecting reality. And so you shift your perspective on reality, you're going to shift your experience within it. And regardless of what you do or don't do, life's going to unfold. And you can pause, you can escape, you can use drugs and alcohol, you can not have conversations, you can avoid having the talks, you can keep your blinders on, you can do all this stuff. Life's going to wait for you. It will wait just as long as you want to wait. But if you're tired of waiting, then open up yourself to receiving, because you don't have to wait. And instead of waiting, I practice mindfulness with myself, thoughtfulness with others, and then it changes the waiting game to being this ever unfolding curiosity. I never know what's going to come next, but I know it's going to be something good. And it's going to be as good as I feel about me, during whatever's happening. And that's just the common denominator with all of it. Life's always going to change. It's always going to evolve. It's never going to stay the same. Although our mind's like, I can't take this forever. I got to get out of here. It's not going to be forever. It's not. We're so dramatic. It's crazy. But it's not going to be forever. That's just your intuition saying it's not going to be that way forever. And when we can better understand our intuition and have a more loving experience of ourselves, then the money matters less and it comes easier. So we'll get into, I don't know exactly what's going to come forward. Ideally, I would love to have all of this like pre-made where you can get it first thing in the morning and have it waiting for you in your inbox. But for this creation, I was given specific guidance to do it on a day-to-day basis. And y'all are helping me to craft this by sharing what's coming forward for you and how this experience is for you. Because I thought that I was going to start Monday with getting into the doings, but then I was told, no, don't go into the doings yet. Stick with mindset just a little bit more. So we'll slowly start to shift into some more practical, tangible doings. I know that some of you will like that a lot because that's what we're used to doing, is staying busy and doing the do's. We'll get into more of the practical stuff, how to clear it. I'm going to take you through a process to tap into your own money healing mantra. We're going to do a lot of really cool stuff over the next 21 days, but keep showing up, keep plugging in, replugging in, love yourself whenever you catch yourself off track, lovingly point yourself back on that path again. Allow this to be an opportunity to just receive and receive from yourself as you go through this. And this isn't a right or wrong, start, stop, finish kind of course. This is a come back to, because these are the mindsets that will set you free as you continue to move forward. Any other thoughts before we close out this session, ladies?
I can't think of
Well,
anything.
I love all of you, and I thank you so much for playing along. And I am going to be putting together some ways that y'all can give me some feedback on how this course was, if you like the delivery method, all of that stuff. And once I post that, I'll make sure all the information's out, but I'll have a way for you to earn some one-on-one time with me as a thank you for your feedback too. So stay tuned, and I will see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah.